Hello friends, and once again a very warm welcome to one and all present over there and listening to me. Right now we are here to just cover the questions from the theory that we have covered from the chapter Current Electricity. We are on the verge of completion of this chapter, that is the current electricity. So before ending the chapter, I think we should do some questions that will be testing our knowledge whether we are now able to attempt those questions in IIT JEE Mains, JEE Advanced, NEET or for CBSE. So let us just do that, and now we are beginning with the session that will be based on the NEET pattern question from the chapter Current Electricity. So now without wasting much time, I think we should proceed to the question that will be the question number 1, and let us just see what is the question number 1. Alright. So I can see that question number 1 here is that in an ammeter, 0.2% of main current passes through the galvanometer. If the resistance of galvanometer is G, the resistance of ammeter will be what? So we have to calculate the resistance of ammeter. So my dear students, let me just tell you, first of all, how do we convert a galvanometer into an ammeter? So here it is conversion of galvanometer into ammeter. As in the question, you can see that this galvanometer has been converted into the ammeter. So we have studied in the theory that if we want to convert the galvanometer into an ammeter, we should apply a small resistance, and we call that small resistance as shunt resistance. We have to apply this small resistance in parallel to the resistance of galvanometer. So let me just show you one thing. Suppose this is my galvanometer, this is the resistance of galvanometer, say capital G as it is given in the question, and if we are applying a small resistance, shunt resistance, let us say this as RS because this is shunt resistance. We have to connect this in the parallel of the galvanometer, and now it completely works as the ammeter. Earlier it was galvanometer. When we have applied a small shunt resistance in parallel to it, it has been converted into ammeter. Now this is the case of the question that has been given. Let me just once again read for you. In an ammeter, 0.2% of the main current passes through the galvanometer. Let me just tell you one thing. In the question they are saying that 0.02%, 0.2% of main current. Let me just say that main current is nothing but the capital I. Let me just suppose that main current is capital I. So the current in this arm, that means in the galvanometer arm, will be 0.2% of the total I. So let me just show you. If here it is going as 0.2% of the, you can write it as 0.2 upon 100 into I, or you can write it as 0.002 I. This will be your current in this arm. So let me just convert and write it in place 0.2% as 0.002 I. This is the current that is flowing in this arm. Now because I know that total main current was I, 0.2% was going in this arm. So the remaining current will definitely go into this arm. So that means in this arm, that means in this shunt resistance, the amount of current will be what? The amount of current will be I minus 0.002 I. Now if you will be solving it, you will see that I minus 0.002 I will be 0.998 I. That means this much of current should be flowing into this arm. So let me just show you once again. This is 0.998 0.998 I. Let me just write it very clearly. This is 0.998 I. Now you have drawn this condition. What we have to find in the question, let me just, if the resistance of galvanometer is G, so yeah, we have written G over here. The resistance of ammeter will be what? So that means we have to calculate the combination of these resistors, the total resistance, the total effective resistance in this case, that we have to find. So let me just say here that in this case, they are connected in parallel with each other. Say these are two junctions. These are, it is one arm, it is second arm. We can see that they are connected in parallel. So we know that when two resistors that are connected in parallel, the potential difference across them would be equal. So now let me just say that V at across this G, across G will be equals to V across this small resistance, that is shunt resistance, because they are connected in parallel. Now if I am saying these both potential differences are equal, we know that what is the formula of V? Just apply the Ohm's law, V equals to IR. So we are going to do the same. V will be equals to I into R, and we know that in this case I is 0.002, R is capital G. So that means 0.002 into capital G will be equals to V across RS. That means I into this small resistance RS. So I is 0.998 and R is RS. So from here you can say that your RS value will came out to be 0.002 into G divided by 0.998. Or you can say your RS will came out to be 1/449 into capital G. Now this is the value of the shunt resistance in the terms of capital G. As we have to find the effective resistance of this circuit, that will be definitely, say if the effective resistance is capital R, so that will be 1/G plus 1/RS. Just look at the figure, you know that these two resistances are connected in parallel. So then we can say the total combination of them would be 1/G plus 1/RS. So we will be doing the same, 1/G plus 1/RS. Now you know that what is the value of RS? 1/499G. So just put this value into that equation and we will be having 1/RS. That means or you can write it as G/499. Now if you will be solving this, you will see that your value has came out to be 500, because 499 will go up in the numerator. You will be having 499 plus 1, that is 500. It means you are having 500/G as 1/R. Now because we have to find the value of R, so your value of R will be G/500 ohm. This is the effective value of this complete circuit. Now we are having this value and we have to just verify whether this value is present in the option or not. So just come with me and we will be checking whether R equals to G/500 or not. So in the option, what I can see here, G/500. That means C option, yeah, we are having the value as G/500. So that means option C is the correct answer and we are going in the correct direction. So if you are, as I just regularly say, if you are following the correct path, you are going to reach at the correct destination, isn't it? So yeah, we have done with the first part of the question and now let us just see what is the second question before us. So here what I can see that we have been given a circuit over here, and in the circuit shown the cells A and B have negligible resistances. That means this A and this B are having negligible resistances. For VA equals to 12 volt and R1 equals to 500. For VA equals to 12 volt, R1 has been given as 500 ohm. And for R equals to 100, the galvanometer shows no deflection. So what will be the value of VB? We have to calculate the value of this VB. Now let us just start. Let me just maintain the board for you and we will be started doing this question number 2. So let me just first of all write what we have to find. We have to find this VB. Now because there is one logic, if you understand the theory of the chapter, if you are clear with the concept of Wheatstone bridge, here is again one thing that you have seen in that case. And now you have to apply it. I have told you in the Wheatstone bridge, when they are saying that in the circuit cell A and B have negligible resistance, the main important line of this question is for VA equals to 12 volt, R1 equals to 500 and R equals to 100. The galvanometer shows no deflection. Where is the galvanometer applied? Between this arm VB and between this R, capital R resistance. So if we are saying that the galvanometer is showing no deflection, that means the potential across this resistance R and potential across this VB must be equal. Then only we can say there will be no deflection, because as you know that galvanometer shows deflection only when there will be the flow of current. But when there will be no flow of current, definitely there will be no deflection. In the question we have been given that there is no deflection. That means no current should be flowing into this arm. No current means your potential at this point will be equals to potential at this point. Because we know that current always flows in the direction from higher potential to lower potential. But if the potential are equal, there will be no flow of current. So that means your potential at, let me just write, the concept behind this is that the potential at VB must be equals to the potential difference across this capital R. This capital R. Now because we know that if the potential are same, we are going to first of all ignore that because there is no flow of current. So we will be considering this part only, that means this part. Now let me just tell you, my dear students, what we are going to do over here. We are going to consider some current in this circuit because we have been given VA 12 volt. Let me just write over here. VA equals to 12 volt. And now what we can see here, since VA equals to 12 volt, R1 has been given as 500 ohm and this R has been given as 100 ohm. Now if you are going to consider this mesh, first of all let me just tell you one thing, that I have made you very much clear about the higher potential and lower potential. If I am going to denote the higher and lower potential in this mesh, that would be like this. This is H and this is L, higher potential and lower potential. In this case, this would be H, this would be L, higher, lower. In this R, this would be H and this would be L, higher, lower. Now let me just draw the direction of current in this mesh. That would be like this. Suppose this is the direction of current in this circuit. Now if you know that since the direction of current, and we know that current flows from higher potential to lower potential, so that means direction of current and the direction of mesh that we have taken are both flowing in same direction. And I have told you in my lectures that when they are flowing in the same direction, you are going to consider your current or you can consider your voltage as negative. So if I'll be applying the Kirchhoff's voltage law, let me just write over here. apply Kirchhoff's voltage law. In mesh 1. Say this is my mesh 1. So I am applying Kirchhoff's voltage law in this. Are you guys able to see this clearly? Okay. So now let me just tell you what will happen. In this case, since higher potential and lower potential I have applied over here, and the direction of current, since the direction of current is from this to this, like this. Let me just draw for you. This is lower potential, or I can just make it very much clear by drawing another figure, so don't get messed up. Our figure will be like this. This is VA and this is capital R, this is R1, this is VA. Alright. So as I have applied the signs, that is higher, lower, higher, lower, higher, lower, and I have considered the direction of mesh as the direction of current in mesh as this. We know that direction of current will be from higher to lower like this. In this circuit now, what you can observe here, direction of current and direction of this direction of current in mesh that you have considered is same. So we are going to have minus VR, minus V in this case. So V will be I into R. So suppose I is flowing in this circuit. Let me just say I is flowing. So that will be minus I into R1 minus, again if it is flowing in the same direction, both are in same direction, so minus R into I will be equals to, because now here the current is flowing in the opposite direction, current is flowing in this direction, higher to lower, and it is flowing from lower to higher. Whenever the current will be flowing from lower to higher potential, then you are going to take the sign as positive. So let me just write over here plus I into R. Here we are having the voltage as VA, the EMF as VA, so I am going to put this VA as it is. Now I know that what is the value of R1. Just look at the figure. In the question we can see here R1 is 500 ohm, capital R is 100 ohm, and VA is 12 volt. So just apply this into this equation, minus I into R1. R1 is 500, so minus 500 I minus R into I. Your R is 100, so minus 100 I plus VA. VA is 12 volt. So that means you are having 12 equals to 0. Now if you are going to solve this, you will see minus 600 I equals to minus 12, isn't it? So minus minus cancelled, you are having your I as, I am finding out the current in this. So I will be 12 upon 600. Let me just remove this because this is the previous question and you will not confuse with it. So your I has been came out to be 12 upon 600. Six twos are 12 and 100. So you can write it as 2 into 10 raised to the power minus 2 ampere, isn't it? Now you are having your current as, let me just start from here, 2 into 10 raised to the power minus 2 ampere. Let me just go back to the circuit and will show you one thing. The current that would be flowing in this arm, because these are both in the parallel, so potential will be same. Now but the current, if I will be considering in this circuit, in this half circuit, you will see that I is flowing in this circuit. Now potential across this R will be V equals to IR. So I will be 2 into 10 raised to the power minus 2 into 100. Now if I am saying that potential across these will be same, so that means V across R will be equals to V across this. So first of all we will be finding V across this R. So potential across R will be equals to I into R. Your I is 2 into 10 raised to the power minus 2 and R is 100. That is 10 raised to the power 2. We can write this 100 as 10 raised to the power 2. Got it? So you are having 2 volt as your potential across R. Now because we know that potential across R will be equals to the potential across VB. So that means VB should be what? VB should be equals to 2 volt. Definitely. Right? So now we are having our option, we are having our answer as 2 volt and we have to verify in the options whether it is present or not. So yeah, we can see here that we are having option number C as the correct choice. So let me just tick mark over this. 2 volt is the correct answer. The way to start the question is this. If you are going to attempt this in this manner, you are definitely going to reach at the particular answer, right? So now we have covered the question number 2 and we will just see what will be the next question coming before us. So now let me just okay, so in the next question what I am having, a current of 2 ampere flows through a 2 ohm resistor. When connected across a battery, the same battery supplies a current of 0.5 ampere when connected across a 9 ohm resistance. So in this question I can see 2 conditions have been given. First of all, 2 ampere current flows when a 2 ohm resistor is connected. Then 0.5 ampere flows when 9 ohm resistance connected. So what will be the internal resistance of the battery? Just note down these 4 points. Same battery supplies a current of 0.5 ampere when connected across a 9 ohm resistance. What we have to find? The internal resistance of the battery. Let me just tell you one thing. Small r is denoted as the internal resistance. Everybody knows we denote this internal resistance as small r and that we have to find in the question. In the question we have been given, let me just write over here, I1 as 2 ampere when your R1 is 2 ohm. Second condition, I1 is 0.5 ampere, I2 sorry, 0.5 ampere when your R2 is 9 ohm. So we have to find this small r, that means the internal resistance. We know that there is one formula with us. In the question, what important thing that has been given is that the same battery has been used. So if it is the same battery, that means EMF should be same, EMF of battery should be same. So what we are, the formula that we are having is I equals to E upon R plus small r, where E is the EMF of your battery, R is the resistor, R, that means small r, is the internal resistance. So if you are having this formula, we will be putting this value one by one and we will be getting the value of R. Let us just see how do we put the value. In the first case, what we are having, I equals to 2 ampere when your capital R, let me just write it as 2 plus small r. This is your equation number 1. The second equation should be, just put this value as 0.5 ampere. You will be having your value as 0.5 equals to E upon R plus R. Now your capital R is 9 ohm. So 9 plus R. So from here you will be having your equation number 2. Now what you have to do, you have to find out the value of small r and it has become a pretty easy, simpler equation. What you are going to do, just divide these two equations to find out the value of r. Dividing equation 2 by 1. You will be having 2 upon 0.5 equals to E upon 2 plus r multiplied by 9 plus r upon E. this you are having with you. So E and E getting cancelled. This 0.5 if you will be having, you will be having 4. So your 4 will be equals to 9 plus R upon 2 plus R. Pretty easy to find now. So basically that will be 8 plus 4R. Yeah, 8 plus 4R is equals to 9 plus R. So 3R, 4R minus R, that means 3R will be equals to 1. Or you can say your R has came out to be 1 by 3 ohm. This is the value of small resistance. And if you are going to just simplify it, we just have to see in the options whether this has been given like this or it has been simplified. So let me just see whether R has been given as 1 by 3 or it has been given in the simplified manner. But here I can see that it has been given in the same ratio. So your R will be here. This is the correct answer, isn't it? So that means we have started doing with this equation. This was the basic of this question. If you know this equation, you are definitely going to attempt the question in the correct manner, right? So now we will begin with the next question. That will be the question number 4th of the session. Okay, in the question we have been given that the mean free path of the electrons in a metal is 4 into 10 raised to the power minus 8. Get up and see this value, what the value has been given. And I know that you are going to easily solve this question. Why? Because your concept has been cleared in the theory. If it is not, then it's not my fault. It's your fault that you have to firstly clear your concept and then you have to just catch out the numericals, right? So now we have been given the mean free path of the metal is 4 into 10 raised to the power minus 8. The electric field which give an average of 2 electron volt. Energy has been given as 2 electron volt energy. To an electron in the metal will be in the unit of volt per meter. So basically if you will focus, we have to find out the electric field. We have been given the mean free path, right. We have been given the 2 electron volt energy, right. What we have to find out? The electric field. Now let me just tell you one thing. Energy that has been given in the question. What are the other forms to represent the energy? We know that energy can be represented as, since energy has been given as 2 electron volt. We know that another way of representing energy is E into V naught, isn't it? Now if you are having your E into V naught, E is the charge of electron, V is the potential. So from here we are going to find the potential. Now your question will be why I am finding the potential first. I have seen one important thing in the question what you are guys missed off, and that is the mean free path has been given. That means L has been given. L has been given as 4 into 10 raised to the power minus 8 meter. E have to be found. Now I know that there is one relation that is between E equals to V by L. That means electric field is nothing but the ratio of potential difference and length. If your potential difference is applied across a length across a wire of length L, so electric field across that length of metal or whatever you are taking, the the electric field will be E equals to V by L. So to find out this E, what do I need? I need this V, and I am finding this V with the help of the formula that has been given. Because I know that energy equals to E into V naught. So what I will do, V naught is nothing but the potential. So we will be having E into V naught equals to 2 electron volt. Isn't it? Because this has been given to us. So if we are going to compare, E cancelled, and your V naught has came out to be 2 volt. This is your potential. Now to find out the electric field, what we need is equals to V upon L. Now your V is 2, your L is 4 into 10 raised to the power minus 8 meter. So you can just put this value. You will be having your value as like this. 2 by 4 is what? 1 by 2. That means 0.5 into 10 raised to the power 8 volt per meter. V is volt, length is in meter. So you will be having your unit in the volt per meter. Now what you are having with you is 0.5 into 10 raised to the power 8. And I have to verify it with the option. Let me just see. I can see that here is the option, that is 5 into 10 raised to the power 7, but not as 0.5 into 10 raised to the power 8. Rest all are not considered in this range. This 8 is not in the range. Now what I can do, we can just convert this into 5. So if you will be having your 0.5 into 10 raised to the power 8, that can be written as 5 into 10 raised to the power 7 volt per meter. I think you are pretty much intelligent and you can understand what we have did. I know that you will be saying that, ma'am, this is the very simple thing that you are telling us. But this is my duty to tell you, to make you aware. That is why I am here. So we are having our answer as 5 into 10 raised to the power 7 volt per meter. So we have to correct over this. That means the D option is the correct answer. So now we are done with the question number 4, and it's now time to just proceed with the next question, that is the question number 5. Let me just remove this and start for the next question. Okay, so the next question says that the charge flowing in a conductor varies with time as Q equals to AT minus BT square. Charge flowing in a conductor varies with time. That means what has been given here? Charge, and it is the relation with time has been given. So that means T here is time. So you are having your charge as AT minus BT square. As I always say, what you should do is you just note down all the values before starting the question. Just put and note down all the values that has been provided in the question, because if you note down once all the values, you will be having a pretty much idea what formula should I apply and what is the relation that I should find out. So that is why you should be noting all these relation first what is provided in the question. So I have written Q equals to AT minus BT square. Now what important thing over here is, you have to tell the incorrect answer but not the correct one. So the incorrect answer should be what? Now to just tell them what is the incorrect answer, I think we don't have enough knowledge about the question. We just only know that we have been given this Q equals to AT minus BT square. So what we have to do is, we should be just checking these options one by one. Whichever will be found out as the incorrect one, we are going to take over that, right? So now we will be first seeing that the current decreases linearly with the time. What is current? Charge per unit time. The charge has been given as Q. So if you want to find the current, that will be dq upon dt. Everybody knows charge per unit time. So you have to differentiate this with respect to time. So if you will be differentiating it, you will be having T minus 2BT. This will be the current. Sorry, not the T but the A minus 2BT. This will be your current. Now what you can see over here, the current decreases linearly with time. Yes, definitely I can see that current is decreasing when I is proportional to T. That means the current will be having a linear relationship with the time. And we can see a negative sign has been applied over here. Here A is constant, so you don't have to bother about A. We can only focus on this negative sign. And this negative sign has a significance over here, that is, it is telling us whether the current is increasing or decreasing with time. So yeah, because here negative sign has been applied, so we can say that current is linearly decreasing with time. Decreasing with time. So that means A option cannot be the incorrect option. So let me just mark our wrong cross over it. Mark a cross over it, because this is the correct answer. So we should not tick over that. We have to tell them the incorrect one. Now let me just focus over the current reaches a maximum and then decreases. I just don't know whether the current is increasing and then decreasing with the time, because there is a linear relation. So first of all, let me just verify other option and then we will see whether it is something true or not. Okay, so the current falls to 0 after time t equals to A upon 2B. Current falls to 0. So if you are going to put your current as 0 into this, let me just write over here, when I is 0, what you will be having? A minus 2bt as 0. You have to tell them the time. So that will be A equals to 2bt. So time equals to A by 2b. So that means when your current is 0, your time is A upon 2b. And what are they saying? The current falls to 0 after time t equals to A by 2b. That means this is the correct explanation. So that cannot be the correct answer for this. So we are going to mark a wrong over here. Now the last option, the current changes at a rate minus 2b. Now if you are over here, you can see that the current changes at a rate. You are having your current as A minus 2bt. Now to tell them the rate of current, we will be having differentiation of this current. We should be differentiating the current, because we have to tell them the rate of current. So that means your di upon dt should be, your I is A minus 2bt. So that means your di by dt will be minus 2b if you are going to differentiate it. Now let me just see. Yeah, I can see that the current changes at a rate minus 2b. This is the option. And also we have seen that di by dt is what? Minus 2b. So that means this is also a correct. So that could not be the answer for this question. Only one option left. This should be the correct answer. So let me just mark over here, this is the correct answer for this question, right? So this is the way how to do this question. You should not be getting bothered. You should not be worried about the question. If you are having your options like this, you can verify it one by one and easily you will catch up the correct answer, right? So now we are done with the question number 5 of this session. It's now time to just look at what is the next question before us. Alright, so here what I can see is we have been given a figure, a mesh of resistors, and there are 9 identical resistors, okay. 9 identical resistors. That means all are having value as capital R. Now we have been given that the resistance of the whole circuit is 1.5 ohm. We have to calculate this R. The song that I was singing right now, R, we have to find that song. So we have to find out the value of R. Okay, so how can I find this value of R? Let me just make a clear circuit before you once again. Here it is, R. This is B. R. Also here what we are having 1 and 2. Okay, so here what have been given, the total resistance of the whole circuit has been given as 1.5 ohm. First of all, what we will do, we will be solving it step by step. So let me just simplify this circuit. That will be, you can see here these two resistance, this R and this R, this and this. These both are connected in series, isn't it? Why series? What is series? When one end are joint and the other ends are joint at another place. So you can see there one point is joined together and their another end is placed somewhere else. So that means they are in series. So you know that what is the formula for the series combination? You can directly add the resistance. So that will be R plus R. That means 2R. So now let me just remove over here and I will be writing only 2R here. This is your 2R. Similarly, you can see over here these two resistors are connected in series. So I will be writing it as R plus R, that means 2R. So let me just convert it into 2R. Now what you can observe over here, this 2R and R are connected in parallel. So if they are connected in parallel, what will be the combination of that? That means 1 upon R plus 1 upon 2R. This you know that, and I am definitely sure that this will be clear to you. So let me just make a one simple figure before you. This is R, this is R. No, I am not going to write for this. We are going to do one thing over here. We know that this 2R and R are connected in parallel. So to find out the combination for these two, we will be having 1 upon R dash equals to what? We just write 1 upon R only. 1 upon R equals to 1 upon 2R plus 1 upon R. That means what? 3 upon 2R. So R here will be 2 by 3 of. Okay, let me just not write, you will be getting confused with this capital R and that capital R. So this is R prime. So your R prime will be 2 by 3 of 2R by 3. This is your combination of these two resistance, and so I am going to put this value over here, that is 2R by 3. And similarly, this value will also be 2R by 3. So we will be writing over here, that is 2R by 3. Now you are very much intelligent. Just tell me what will be the next step. Again, what we are going to do over here, this and this resistance are connected in series. Let me just remove this previous question. You can see over here, this and this resistors are connected in series. So that will be the sum of resistance from there will be 2R by 3 plus R. So the combination from here will be 2R by 3 plus R. So if you will be solving here, you will be having 3 plus 2, that is 5R by 3. Right? So what I can do over here, I will be making another circuit like this. That will be, this is 5R by 3. Similarly, 2R by 3 plus R, that will be again 5R by 3. So we will be just making another resistors that will be having 5R by 3, and this is the value of R. Now here your simple equation, the simple circuit has been obtained. What you can do here, 5R by 3, R and this 5R by 3, these all are connected in parallel. So that means their combination will came out to be 1 by R equals to 5R by 3. What you have to do is, you have to take a reciprocal, because we know that 1 upon R equals to 1 upon r equals to 1 upon r1 plus 1 upon r2 plus 1 upon r3. So we will do in the similar manner. So 1 by r1 will be what? 3 upon 5r. So 3 upon 5r plus this 1 by r plus again 3 upon 5r. So if you will be solving it, you will be having your 5r square. So 3r plus 5r plus 3r. So that means 6r plus 5r, or you can say 11r upon 5r square. This r and r will cancel square. So you are having 11 by 5 of r. This is your 1 by r. So from here your r will be, let me just write over here, this is 1 upon r double dash, because this is the combination of all these resistors and you should not be confused with the r. So 1 upon r dash is 5r upon 11. So let me just write over here 5r upon 11. Now you know that the value of the r that has been given here is, this is the complete value of the resistance of the whole circuit. So that means r has been given as 1.5 ohm. We have to tell them the combination. So r double dash will be equals to 5 upon 11 of 1.5. Let me just solve it here for you because I am not able to find the space over the board. So that means your r dash will be equals to 5 upon 11 into 1.5. Or you can write it as 15 by 10. So 5 by 2, and you will be having your answer as 15 upon 22. Now if you will be solving it, you will be having your answer as, am I right or wrong? We are doing this correct, 5 by 11 into 1.5, and you can represent this 1.5 as 15 by 10. So you are having 5 2s are 10. So 15 upon 22, and so you are having your answer as, let me just write over here, 3.3 ohm. If you will be solving it, you will see that your value came out to be 3.3 ohm. So yeah, I can see from the options that there is an option that is present as the option number B, and this is the correct answer, right? So that means this was the method how to start the question. You can see the chain of resistance that we have simplified step by step, and this is the way you should attempt this question. So now it's time to just look at the next question. Before that, I will prepare the board for you. You will be just writing it down, and then we will be starting that. Alright, so now we have done with the question number 6. It is now time to just move towards the next question, that is question number 7. So let us just see what is the question number 7. So what I can see over here is that a uniform wire of resistance 36 ohm. It is bent in the form of a circle that you can see over here. The 36 ohm resistance wire have been bent in the form of a circle. The effective resistance between A and B should be what? So we have to find out the resistance between A and B. What I can just see from here is that we have been given this theta. We know that this is an arc, so we can easily find out the length of this arc by using what? And yeah, I can tell you one thing, that if we are able to find out the length of this AB, we will be able to find out the resistance, because we know that resistance is nothing but R equals to rho L upon A, where rho is your resistivity, L is your length of the wire, A is the uniform cross section area of the wire. So now what I have to do, first of all, we have to find out the length of this AB. Let me just consider this portion, that is A, O, B. Let me just say that this is O. Right? So now the length of this portion will be theta equals to arc upon radius. Isn't it? So now let me consider this r, that means the radius, as small r. So my theta will be arc, or you can consider this AB as, say this is as L1, and this remaining length can be considered as L2. So this is your L2. Now what I can do is, theta equals to arc, that means L1 upon radius. So this is r. From here theta, we know that theta has been given as pi by 6 because it is given as 30 degrees. So you can write it in the form of pi by 6. So pi by 6 equals to L1 upon r. From here you will be writing it as 6 pi by r. This is your L1. Similarly, if you want to find out the remaining length, that will be theta equals to arc by radius. So your theta, just look at this side, your remaining theta will be what? 360 minus 30 degree, that means what? 330 degree. So you can write it as 2 pi minus pi by 6, that will be your remaining angle. So your theta will be arc, that means L2 upon radius, that is r. So your theta here is 2 pi minus pi by 6, this is equals to L2 upon r. From here you are having your L2 as L2 equals to 11 pi r upon 6. This is your L2. Now what you are having? You are having L1 and L2. Now let me just tell you, you know the formula of r equals to rho L by A? Very simple formula, we know that r equals to rho L by A. So if you will be considering the resistance for the first portion, that means for L1, your resistance will be r equals to rho L1 upon A. Area will remain same for L1 and L2 because we are considering the one wire, that means area will remain same. R2 will be rho L2 upon A2. Sorry, area will remain same, so rho L2 upon A2. From here what you can see, R1 upon R2 will be rho L1 upon A multiplied by A upon rho L2. So definitely you will be getting L1 upon L2, right? So this is your relation between resistance and the length of the portions. Now from here you can see L1 upon L2 will be what? If I just want to find out the ratio, that is L1 upon L2, that will be 6 pi upon r multiplied by 6 upon 11 pi r. L1 upon L2. So definitely we will be having L2 as 11 pi r upon 6. So I am going to put this value over here. What I will be having 6 pi upon r multiplied by 6 upon 11 pi by r. So pi r, yeah, I think we are doing something that is in wrong, because if I want to find out the L1 upon L2, that is the ratio, we would be having these terms as cancelled out. So let me just check it out from the very beginning. What is the thing that I have been missing with? I have been writing it as theta equals to arc upon radius. So from here theta equals to L1 upon r, pi by 6 equals to L1 upon r. So from here your L1 will be r pi upon 6. So that means here is the mistake that I have done. That will be r into pi upon 6. This will be your L1 will be r pi 6 upon pi r. So you can make it a correction, because I was just making myself confused. From here I can definitely say my L1 will be pi r upon 6. This is my equation 1. And similarly, if I speak for L2, L2 will be 11 pi r upon 6. Now to find L1 upon L2, I am having one thing with me, that is pi r upon 6 multiplied by 11 pi r, this. Now what you can see over here, pi r cancelled, 6 cancelled, You are having your L1 upon L2 as 1 upon 11. Now because you are having your L1 upon L2 as 1 by 11, you can definitely say that here L1 will be 1 and L2 will be 11. So total length that I can say will be equals to L1 plus L2. That means 1 plus 11, or you can say total length is 12. Now because you are knowing that your total length is 12, so that means if I will be considering for the L1 portion, that is AB, just look at the figure, your AB will be what? Because we know that this total length is complete 12, and we know that this ratio, that is L1 upon L2, is 1 by 11. So that means this will be the 1 by 12th portion of the complete length, isn't it? So that is why we can written over here as, let me just remove it from here and me just writing for that, length of AB, that means L1. It is nothing but 1 by 12th of the total length. Now because you are having your length as 1 by 12 of total length, we know that we have been given that this complete wire has 36 ohm resistance. So if I am saying that complete length, that means say L is nothing but 36 ohm resistance. So what will be the resistance of 1 by 12th of L? 1 by 12th of L will be having 1 upon 12 minus into 36 ohm resistance. That means you are having your resistance for this length, that is L1, is nothing but the 3 ohm. Now if we are having the resistance of this portion as 3 ohm, definitely if complete is 36 ohm and this is 3 ohm resistance, so the remaining portion will be having resistance as 36 minus 3. So that means your AB, the major arc, the bigger arc, will be having the resistance as 33 ohm. So we will be writing it as L2 will be having 36 minus 3 or 33 ohm resistance. Now because I know that what is the resistance of this wire, this major portion, what is the resistance of this major portion, we know the resistance also. So can we now find the resistance, the effective resistance between A and B? Now suppose this is a resistance, this is a resistor between A and B, and this is also a resistor, the complete one, the bigger one. So that means these two resistors are connected in parallel, because you can see here there are 2 points. So that means this resistors will be connected like this. 2 points and 2 resistors. Definitely they are connected in parallel position. So we can now add them and find out the combination of these 2 resistors. And that combination will be, let me just write over here, 1 upon R will be equals to 1 upon 3, that means this resistance for the L1. L1 is having 3 ohm resistance and L2 is having 33 ohm resistance. So 1 by R will be equals to 1 by 3 plus 1 upon 33. So if you will be solving it, you will be having 33 plus 3 upon 33 into 3. Right? So that means you are having 36 upon 99 as 1 by R. So your R will be what? 99 upon 36. So if you are going to solve for it, you will be having your resistance as 33 by 12, or if you will further solve it, you will be having your resistance combination as 2.75 ohm. So now let me just verify whether this option is present in the given options or not. So we will just move towards the question and let us just see whether 2.75 is the correct answer or not. And yeah, I can give a big smile over here because I can find out that there is an option that I wanted. So that means this is the correct answer. So let us just tick over this, right? So this was the way. I know I got confused at a point where you should not be get confused. This is a human error and everybody can get confused at one particular point. Well, this was my problem. I got confused. I think yeah, that you would not be getting confused with all over that we have understood over here. Now let me just move towards the next question. That will be the question number 8 of the session. So before proceeding towards the question, let me just make the board clear and then we will be starting. So the question number 8 is that a cell develops the same power across two resistances R1 and R2 respectively. The internal resistance of the cell will be what? So we have to find the R, and we have been given that a cell develops the same power. The important thing is same power across two resistances R1 and R2. Now we know that suppose we are having our resistance R as R1 and R2. So the power in both cases is same. So we can write it as P1 equals to P2. Now what will be the P1 and P2, and how do we find the internal resistance of the cell? We know that one formula with us is I equals to E upon R plus R, where R is the resistance and small r is the internal resistance. What we have to do is, we have to find out the value of this small r. Now how do we calculate this? We have been given P1 equals to P2, and what is the formula for P1 and P2? We know that P equals to I square upon I square R, right? Because we know that, let me just derive it for you, we know that P equals to V into I. So if you will be putting the value of V or you will be putting the value of I, you will be getting the combination, the formula for P in terms of I and R, because I know that V equals to IR. So if I will be putting here IR, we will be having IR into I, that means totally as I square into R, right? So now we are having this formula with us, and what will we now do? We will be putting this value of I into this equation, and because we know that P1 equals to P2, so that means we are going to put these values and we will be comparing with this situation, right? Now let me just tell you one thing, my dear students, that you should remember 2 or 3 formulas that is based on the power. First formula is P equals to VI, second formula is P equals to I square R, and your third formula is P equals to V square by R. Whatever is the situation given to you in the question, you can apply either this or this. So it just depends on the situation of the question. If you remember these formulas, only just one formula you have to remind, P equals to VI, and you know that you can find out these two values from one particular question, from one particular equation. As I have found out this I square R, so easily you can find it out, and this also. Now we have to use this equation P equals to I square R. So let me just remove all this and start with this, because we know that P equals to I square R. So definitely that will be P equals to I square, that means E upon R plus R whole square into R. So if I will be considering for the resistance 1, that is R1, my case will be P equals to E upon R1 plus R whole square into R1. This will be the case for P1. So if I will be considering the case for P2, we will be having our power as P2 equals to E upon R2 plus R whole square into R2. This is the case for P2. Now because we have been given in the question that P1 equals to P2, and we also know that a single cell is being used, a cell. So that means EMF is going to be same, that is why we have put E and E over here. Now what next we can do? because P1 and P2 are equal, so we are going to equate these two equations. So that will be E upon R1 plus R whole square into R1 equals to E upon R2 plus R whole square into R2. Now what you can do over here, this E square, they will be cancelled out. So I am directly removing this term. We are now having with us as R1 upon R1 plus R square equals to R2 upon R2 plus R square. Now what we can do over here, our R1 will come out to be R2 plus R square equals to R2 into R1 plus R square. So we can just open this square term. What is the formula for A plus B whole square? A square plus B square plus 2AB. Everybody knows. So get up and use this formula. That formula will be R1 into A square, that means R2 square, plus R square plus 2AB. So that means 2 into R2 into R equals to R2. Apply the same formula, A plus B whole square, A square plus B square plus 2AB. Now what you can do over here, you can just remove this bracket. So that means multiply this outer term with this complete bracket term. So you will be having R1 R2 square plus R1 into small r square plus 2 into R2 into R1 into R. Multiplying this R1 with R2. Now on opening this term, you will be having R2 into R1 square plus R2 into R square plus 2 into R1 into R2 into R. Now what you can see over here, this term and this term, they are equal, they are same, so you can cancel them out. What you are left with? These two terms and these two terms. These two and this two. Now let me just come and write over here. We are now having R1 into R2 square plus R1 into small r square equals to R2 into capital R1 square plus R2 into small r square. Now can I bring this small r terms in the one side and the other term to that side? So I will be having with me as R1 minus R2 small r square, because I am bringing this term to the left hand side, and I am left with R2 R1 square minus R1 R2 square. From here I can do one thing, I will be taking common as R1 R2, and so I will be left with R1 minus R2. Here also I am having R1 minus R2 as capital R square. So now you can see one thing, that these both are having R1 minus R2. So they will be cancelled out. So what I am left with? R square equals to R1 into R2. So that means your small resistance is under root R1 R2. This is the value that we have obtained. Now we will verify this with the options that are available with us. So the internal resistance of the cell is, so the option number C we have got as our correct answer. So yeah, again we can give a big smile over here. Now we will laugh. Instead of smiling, we will laugh because we have got a correct answer, right? So we have done again a question that is very in the correct manner. Now we will be moving towards the next question. Till then you can just note it down. With a view, you can just note it down, and we will be now starting with the next question. That will be the question number 9. Okay. So the question number 9 says that, okay, I can see a beautiful picture over here in a box, and this picture is saying that we have a group of n cell. Yes, I can see that there are n number of cells joined in the circle whose EMF varies directly with the internal resistance as per the equation that has been given. En equals to 1.5 Rn. Let me just write En equals to 1.5 into Rn. Now, as shown in the figure, the current in the circuit is what? So, basically we have to find this current. Now, I think no question can be easier than that. Now, you will be asking that, ma'am, a typical figure has been given. First of all, you are saying it a beautiful figure. Then you are saying that no question can be easier than that. How can you say that? Are you stupid, ma'am? So, I will be saying that, yeah, I can be stupid, but for me, if you are considering this question as the toughest one, that means you are a little bit, what should I say, you can understand what I just tried to say. Alright, so I won't say by my own, you can understand. So, yeah, because I am having this En equals to 1.5 Rn, what will be the E1? Put this n as 1. So, E1 will be 1.5 into R1, isn't it? What will be E2? E2 will be 1.5 into R2. Simple. Similarly, your En has got 1.5 into Rn. Right or wrong? Right. Now, I am having my EMF as E1, E2, E3 and so on. We know that because we have to find out the current, the relation between the current and EMF is what? I equals to E upon R. This is the case of Ohm's law. You can write E as V also, I equals to V by R. There is a difference between the potential difference and EMF, and I have made it you very much clear what do we mean by EMF and what do we mean by the potential. But here we will be using this formula because we have been given the voltage in terms of EMF. So, we will be writing this. Now, what is E? Your total E will be from here, your total E will be E1 plus E2 plus E3 up to En. And similarly, because number of resistors are connected, just go back to the figure, just come here once, and now I will tell you one thing. Because EMF are connected, this is a batteries, and with that we can see R1, R2, R3, R4 and Rn. Number of resistors are connected. So, what will be the total resistance? Because they all are connected in series. So, we can say that the total resistance will be R1 plus R2 plus R3 plus up to Rn. Now, to find out the value of I, we will be using the formula, that is I equals to E by R. So, total E is nothing but E1 plus E2 plus E3 plus up to En upon total R, that means R1 plus R2 plus R3 plus up to Rn. Now, what next? We know that this E1 can be represented in the form of 1.5 R1. So, what I am going to do, I am going to just put this value as 1.5 into R1 plus 1.5 into R2. In place of E1, E2, I am writing this E3 as 1.5 R3 and so on as 1.5 into Rn divided by R1 plus R2 plus R3 plus up to Rn. Now, what you can see over here, if I will be taking 1.5 as common, so 1.5 will come out and I will be having R1 plus R2 plus R3 up to Rn, and similarly in the denominator I am having R1 plus R2 plus R3 up to Rn. So, they will be cancelled out. Yes, you are pretty much intelligent. I can know that. Again, I'll be writing it this as plus up to Rn divided by R1 plus R2 plus up to Rn. So they will be cancelled out and we are left with nothing but 1.5. So that means what? We were finding out the current. We have started with I equals 2. So that means this is what? Your I has came out to be 1.5 ampere. We have found out this answer. Now it's time to verify the answer. So we will be moving toward the question and we will now see whether 1.5, oh yeah, there is one correct answer. So whether we will laugh or whether we will smile now, I think we will do both. So yeah, so this will be the correct answer, right? So yeah, I am a bit kind of weirdo, so don't get bothered about me. I am going to teach you well, but in between I am going to do my habitual that I am. So 1.5 ampere is the correct answer. Yeah, we are now done with the question number 9 and now we will be proceeding towards the next question, that will be the question number 10 of the session. Oh, I forgot to just make the face over here. This is the smile face and this is the laugh face. Just forget about my bad features that I have shown you. Focus over that. Now I will be making the next question and we will see what face we are going to make in the next one. Till then, we will be focusing over the question. Alright, so I can see again a beautiful picture over here. The group of resistors connected like this. 8 resistances, each of resistance 5 ohm. So that means all these resistors are what? They are 5 ohm resistors. They are connected in the circuit as shown in the figure. What is the equivalent resistance between A and B? Focus on the 2 points A and B. This is your point B and this is your point A. We have to find the effective resistance between them. So now what you can convert, you can just simplify this circuit like this that I am going to show you, and then you will be saying that, ma'am, now it has become a very simpler circuit, I am able to solve that by my own. And that will be a happy moment for me because you will be saying that, ma'am, I am able to do that. That means my work for you has been succeeded. Now I am going to convert it. You can just simplify this circuit like this. Alright, so this is the now what you can see over here, because these 2 points are joined. If I am going to remove this junction from here like this, I am having my circuit like this. Instead it is not looking like beautiful like earlier it was like in circle, but still I managed to draw this for you. Just please consider it. Okay, so this is the circuit that has been simplified now. Why I am saying this that is simplified? Because you are having this as 5 ohm, 5 ohm, 5 ohm, 5 ohm, 5, 5, 5, 5. This is nothing but your 2 points, that is A and B. We have to find out the effective resistance between these 2 points. So to find out the resistance between 2 points AB, I can see this complete figure is in parallel with this A and B, isn't it? Why do we say that it is in parallel? When we see that if one arm is at one junction, another arm, the end of another arm is at the second junction and they are joined together, because one arm is here, all the resistance are having here, and the another arm is here. So that means they are connected in parallel with this. Let me just explain you what I am trying to say. I am just imagining that you are considering it wrong. So let me just make it more clear. First of all, forget all thing. You can see over here, these 2 resistors are connected in series. So what will be the total resistance? That will be 10. So that means this is 10, this is 5 and this is 5. I am considering only this portion first of all. So this is now 5. Are you understanding which portion I have considered? Remaining this portion, I have considered all this portion, that is 5 ohm, this 5 ohm and this 5 plus 5 has become 10. So this is 10 ohm and this is 5 ohm. I have left the remaining portion. Now let me just tell you, these two are connected in parallel. So what will be the resistance of them? That will be 1 upon 5 plus 1 upon 10. So if you will be going to multiply them, you are going to solve them, you will see that you are having it as, or because this is 1 by R we were finding, so our R will be 10 by 3 ohm. So again what you can do is, you can remove this from here, 10 and 5, you are having the combination as 10 by 3. So I will be replacing this and I will be writing it as 10 by 3. Now you can see over here this 5, 10 by 3 and 5, they are connected in series, right? So what will be the combination of these three resistance? The combination of them will be 5 plus 10 by 3 plus 5. That means if you are going to multiply them, 5 plus 5, 10, 10 plus 10 by 3. You will be having your resistance as 40 by 3 ohm, isn't it? 10 plus 10 by 3, 30 plus 10, 40 by 3. So yeah, you are having your resistance as 40 by 3. Now what I am going to do is, I am going to just make it more clear for you. Say this was point A, here it was 5 ohm resistance, it was your 5 ohm resistance, it was again your 5 ohm resistance, isn't it? Now I have drawn this diagram that has been shown over here. This all resistance has been converted into 40 by 3 ohm resistance. So I am going to remove this portion, complete portion, and instead of that I am going to write this 40 by 3 ohm. So let me just remove it from here and we will be writing it as 40 by 3. So this is nothing but 40 by 3 ohm resistance. Now the simplest circuit has been seen over here. You have got this resistance as 40 by 3 and you can see these two resistors are connected in series. This is point A, this is B, do not forget that. These two 5 ohm resistors are connected in series. So you will be having your resistance as 10 ohm. So can I write this as, remove this and write this complete as understood? So now what you can see, 1, 2 and 3. These three resistors are connected in parallel. To find the equivalent resistance, to find the effective resistance across A, B and C, A and B, the combination will be 3 by 40 plus 1 by 10 plus 1 by 5. So I will be writing over here, the combination of the resistance R across AB will be 1 upon 5 plus 1 upon 10 plus 3 upon 40. Because we are taking 1 by R equals to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. So that means you have to take the reciprocal of these three. That is why we have written over here like this. So if you will be having a solution of this, you will see that it is nothing but, let me just make it again for me. Okay, so yeah, this is 40. Okay, so this can be written as 1 by RAB, but not as RAB. So this is 1 upon RAB. So you can see over here as 1 upon RAB equals to 3 by 8. So because we need to find the resistance across RAB, That will be 8 by 3 ohm. So according to me, my answer is 8 by 3 ohm. And it's now time to just check from the option whether there is any option with that or not. And what will we? Just first of all decide which face we are going to make. Whether we are going to smile or we are going to laugh or we are going to dance over here. Let us just see, or it can be the option that there is a wrong answer and we have to cry for that. So yeah, we have got one correct answer and that is 8 by 3 ohm. So shall I dance here? Not at all. So that means 8 by 3 ohm is the correct answer. You can laugh over here. Okay, so we are now done with the session where we have attempted the 10 question based on the NEET pattern for the chapter current electricity. We will be meeting again in the next session where we will be solving for the JEE main pattern, JEE advanced pattern. Till then, just keep practicing, keep revising and do more and more questions so that you will be having your fluency, you can say, in solving the question as very smooth. So till then, just take care. We will be meeting again. Bye bye.